Welcome back to the podcast, Hatoraid Hour. I'm your host, and this is episode 7. I'm very excited about this podcast because it's going to be mainly focusing on my experience with CEDIA. I do have some other things that I do want to talk about, but it's going to be mainly focused on CEDIA. And I know CEDIA has been a couple weeks ago already, but I've just been so busy that I haven't had time to sit down and hit record this podcast. So episode 7, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming back. So I do have a lot to talk about, like I said. So I've got my iPad here. I've got some notes that I took down to make sure I hit all the stuff that I want to talk about. But before I get into the podcast, I want to talk about some subwoofers. So if you haven't been following the channel and you don't know, I have 3 subwoofers in for review right now. It's crazy. So I have 2 of Emotiva's brand new Airmotiv line subwoofers. I have the Airmotiv XS8, which is behind me in the front of the theater, and then I have the Airmotiv XS 12-inch that's right in front of me. And I did an unboxing for that. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's on my channel. I'm really excited about that because this is my first experience with any type of speakers or subwoofers with Emotiva. I've had their amps for years, and I love them. I got to meet those guys at the Texas Audio Roundup a couple of months ago in Austin, Texas, and I became an Emotiva affiliate, and now I finally got the subwoofers in. It took a while. There's a chip shortage, and then there's other people, so I'm probably at the bottom of the totem pole. But I'm really glad. I think I'm probably one of the first ones to get these subs, so I hooked up the 12-inch. I haven't hooked up the 8-inch yet, but I hooked up the 12-inch when I first got it. I didn't run any room correction or anything at all on it. I just wanted to hook it up just to see how it sounded straight out of the box, and it sounded pretty good. I was very happy the way it sounded. I've got it in the back of my room. I do need to run calibration on it with my MRX 720 receiver, but just plugging it in, I liked what I was hearing. So once I get it tuned, once I run calibration on it, I get it tuned. I'm going to run Arc Genesis, the room correction. I'm going to share that with you guys in the review. And then I'm going to do that with the 8-inch as well. And then I may make another video with both of them together because my room's pretty big. And I don't expect the 12-inch to fill the entire room. It's probably capable, but because it's going to be in the back of the room, there's going to be some nulls up front. And I do want to run it by itself just to see how it works, and I think it's light enough to where I may be able to move it to the front. I don't know. I've only got 45 days with it. I can keep it for a little bit longer if I have to, but I also don't want to be selfish for the other reviewers as well. But yeah, so I've got those in, and then I've also got the SVS PB4000. That thing is a beast. I love that subwoofer, man. I'm probably going to end up keeping it, like buying it at some point. But I think I've got a while to review this and play around with it. But I did the same thing when I got it. I plugged it up. I didn't run any room correction on it. And man, this thing, I will say because I didn't run room correction on it, it's a little tad boomy just because of where it's placed. And like I said, I didn't run room correction on it. That's at no fault to the subwoofer. This thing, once I get it dialed in, once I run the room correction on it, I can't wait to see what it sounds like. Because this thing hits hard. And like I said in my initial impressions, that thing hits you in your chest, in your lower back. I had some friends over this past weekend on Sunday. We watched Jurassic World Dominion. Some of them hadn't seen it yet. I had seen it. And so I can say the same thing, even though this sub is way more than capable for this room size. It's a 13.5-inch sub. Because it's in the back of the room and because I haven't tuned it yet, you don't experience it as much as you do in the back row, which is actually the main seating position. That's where the sweet spot is. That's where I have it tuned for the sweet spot right now because that's where I have my Valencia theater seats. But when I was testing it by myself and I was sitting in the sweet spot, man, I got it as close as I can to being near field. It's not near field, but I was probably maybe 6 to 8 feet away from behind me. But man, I have not experienced bass like this before with the PB 4000. I can't describe. If you have one, you know exactly what that feeling is like. And man, I just had smiles. I didn't know what I was missing. And there's so much low end in the demos. The very short time that I did do some demos, there's so much low end that I was missing, that I wasn't experiencing. So I can't wait to set that up. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to run Arc Genesis on that subwoofer. And then, I'll do my testing, I'll do a review, but I still have my SVS cylinder sub, and I think I'm probably going to place that up front to even out the bass for the whole room so that the whole room gets to experience, good bass and even bass, because I was sitting up front when my friends came over this weekend and we watched Jurassic World. I was sitting up front with my buddy and his wife, and yeah, you feel the bass, but it's not anything close to what it feels like in the back. So, and again, that's no fault to the sub itself. This sub is more than capable than filling this room. But as we all know, our home theaters aren't perfect. And as big as the sub is, I really only have one spot that I can put it in. And it's probably not ideal to get even bass for the room. So after I do my reviews and testing with it, I'm going to take that other sub and put it up front. And it's a cylinder sub, so it doesn't take up as much of a footprint. And I'm going to put that up front, and then I'll go back to multi-sub, because I've been running 2 subs in here since, I moved into the house. So really excited about that. Super, super fun. And I have to say thank you to Nick from SVS, and also thank you to Nick from Emotiva for sending these subs out for me to review. And again, I couldn't have done it without you guys. If I didn't have the followers that I have, then I wouldn't have been able to, I wouldn't have been able to get these subs. I wouldn't be able to have this experience. So thank you guys so much. Hopefully I can provide some good content with those videos. I'm looking forward to that. I've got some ideas of trying to make some good videos without stealing ideas from other content creators. There's a lot of good content out there, and it's kind of hard to be original. It's good to take things from other creators, but you also don't want to just copy them. So I'm going to do my best, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Okay, let's talk about CEDIA. So CEDIA, if you don't know what CEDIA is basically, it's an expo where it's a dealer-driven or dealer-focused expo where dealers come, they showcase their products, and they work with other dealers, other companies. And then, if you are, how do I put this? So basically, like, let's say I had a company, a home theater company, where I want to help someone build their home theater, but I don't have the products. I can build it, but you need processor, receiver, speaker, subwoofers. I would go to CEDIA and talk to, basically I would be the dealer. So I would be the dealer, and then I would go talk to the companies. I said that wrong, sorry. I would go talk to the companies, and then you can basically negotiate and like, hey man, I really like these products. So they have a bunch of demo rooms, tons and tons of demo rooms. And you basically find the same companies are all working together. You have Trinov, you have MadVR, and then you have Kaleidoscape. Those are probably if you went to a demo room, you would probably find those products all in the same room together. Now, obviously, they had different speakers, they had different companies and stuff like that, but a lot of those companies are working together. So it makes it easier if you're a dealer to go to one of those shows. But it's a really, really, really cool show. And it's not like CES, where CES is geared towards the consumer. CEDIA, the only way to get in there, if you're not, a company with products or a dealer, you basically have to know someone. And I was able to get in because of Chris, that home theater dude. So thank you, Chris. That was awesome. But yeah, so I was able to get in, and man, that was probably the highlight of my YouTube year. I really liked the Texas Audio Roundup, and I think that was perfect for those companies. It's smaller, it's not as big. You get to interact with, the companies on a more intimate level. So there's not as much people. You can basically, like, I walked up to Dan and I was the first time meeting him. I asked him, hey man, do you mind if I, ask you some questions, get some content for my channel? And he was like, yeah, sure. Go ahead, man. So that was really cool. And I do really like that setup. But this was just different, man. Like, CEDIA was my favorite so far. There were so many cool demo rooms, which I'm going to talk about, that I got to experience that really opened my eyes, opened my ears, opened my knowledge, because I've only been doing YouTube for a year and I've never been to any type of expo like that. So I haven't heard any other speakers other than the ones I've had in my home theater. And just to be able to experience what's out there, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars for a home theater that you can buy if you have the money. And wow, like, really, when I came back home, I was like, my home theater is pretty much trash. Not really, but the average consumer is not going to be able to come close to affording that stuff. But being able to experience it and then getting that knowledge of what this sounds like, or this is what these speakers sounds like, this is what this speaker with, Trinov and Kaleidoscape sounds like. Man, it was so much fun. I'm looking forward to next year, 2023, which is going to be in Colorado. So hopefully I'll be able to go to that as well. So that's what CEDIA is. And for my first impressions, super cool, man. Since I've been doing YouTube, that's my favorite experience so far. And I also got to meet some really other cool content creators. I got to meet Youthman. It was really cool meeting him. Like I said, I already know Chris from, before, but Chris was there. Brad, Home Theater Gamer, was there. And then Ike, he was there. So all those dudes are like really super cool, down to earth. You see them on YouTube and you see them, you make their videos, but to actually meet them and see how they interact with other people, and really to see how other people are filming. So I got to see how Youthman, is filming, and it's really cool. And it really makes you have a better appreciation of how other content creators are making their content, because I know how everybody has their own way of creating content, and it's not always easy. Like, this is fun. I love doing all of this stuff, but it does take a lot of work. And especially being at CEDIA, I mean, Youthman was getting paid to make basically 10 videos. He had sponsors. I'm not on that level yet, but just from a recording, like walking around, like I reached out to some people, to some companies before. I kind of waited a little bit too late, but I was able to just walk up to some people and ask if I could film some stuff. And they were pretty, like, I don't think anybody really ever told me no, as long as they weren't busy. But it's a lot to walk around, because the place is huge. It's massive. So to walk around, to walk up to people, and there's people walking in front of your cameras, there's people that aren't paying attention, and it is what it is, but it takes a lot of work. And then to come home and edit, and then to try to get those videos out while CEDIA is still going on, so that you can get the views and you can get, it's a lot of work, but it was worth it. It was so much fun. I'm looking forward to CES. Apparently CES is a completely different beast. So I'm looking forward to that experience. And so I got to see a lot of different companies. I got to see, Kaleidoscape. I got to experience that. Hisense, Trinov. I didn't actually get to go to the Trinov demo, like their actual room, but pretty much everybody was using Trinov in their demo rooms. So it was like Trinov, Kaleidoscape, and then I got to experience JVC for the first time. That was amazing. I see why everybody loves JVC. Man, I wish I could afford one of those things, because it's nice. JVC is really nice. I got to experience the new MARANTZ, the AV10 and the AMP10. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but that was my favorite room. That room blew me away. And especially when we're talking about price point of what that room costs, like that you can actually buy all the components in that room compared to some of the other demo rooms that were over, hundreds of thousands of dollars. That room, the MARANTZ room, that was my favorite room, even though it didn't have the most expensive equipment. So yeah, Hisense, that was really cool. Chris, he has, his company that he's started, that home theater, or the home theater experience. And I actually filmed some videos with him, or a video with him, but I didn't post it because I think there was something going on with my shutter speed or something. Something got changed. And so there were some TVs and projectors screens in the background. And I just had this constant flickering. And I was like, man, I don't want to post that. That doesn't look good for the video. That doesn't look good for the company. But what I'll probably do is I'm probably going to post that on my Patreon. So, because there's a couple videos where that happened. I have one video just straight up got deleted somehow. And then there was another video that I had really, really bad banding in the background. I was like, I can't post this. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably put it on my Patreon so that, it's not like widely distributed on YouTube. And I'm sure companies would probably understand, but that just doesn't look good. And I don't want to do that to those companies or, to my channel. But if you're not a Patreon member, I will be posting some content that won't ever be shown to the light of day on YouTube. So go check that out. Sign up. It's $5 a month. I only have one flat fee. I don't have any tiers or anything like that. It's just $5 a month. So if you feel like you want to go sign up on that, sign up. And I haven't posted those videos yet. And I kind of stopped promoting my Patreon a little bit just because I've been so busy. I really only have 1 or 2 videos on there. So I didn't want to be promoting it and there's not really any content, but I am going to be putting some of that stuff from CEDIA that didn't make it to YouTube on there if you want to see that. So at CEDIA, I got to make a lot of contacts. And basically, you have to kind of headhunt at CEDIA to make contacts. It helps if you do know somebody. Like, I know Youthman now. I know, a lot of people. I have connections with Chris. But when you're trying to, promote yourself, it's good to talk to people. And I met a lot of cool people. Actually, everybody that I met at CEDIA was really, really cool. There's always been a negative connotation, and I can see how that can be, but there's always been kind of a negative connotation that, CEDIA expos or expos like that aren't really user-friendly because you don't really get to interact with them. And it may have been like that before, but since it's been, 3 years since CEDIA was around before COVID, I think 2019 was the last year, that was not the case at all. And I don't know if it's because it's been so long, but whatever those companies did, whoever those companies put at CEDIA, like their representatives, they made sure they put the right people there, because literally everybody that I walked up to, I think I reached out to a couple people that responded that was like, yeah, sure, come, if we have some time. Like SVS, they told me they actually had a time slot for me. But everybody else, I basically just kind of walked up to them and asked them if I could record some stuff for the channel. And I don't think anybody said no. And they were super, super cool. They were super helpful. And I didn't have any bad experiences at CEDIA. So that was really cool. I don't know what next year is going to be like, but it was just so much fun. If you have the opportunity to go, I don't know how much it is because I ended up not having to pay, but if you ever get the opportunity to go to CEDIA, go. It is so much fun. It can be a little bit overwhelming and a little bit tiring. I don't know if I was running off of adrenaline or what, but I never got tired. I got hungry because I was walking around a lot, but man, it's just so much fun. And just to be able to experience some of those demo rooms, even if you can't afford it, which I'll never be able to afford any of that stuff that was there, ever. But to be able to experience it, is so much fun, and it's just like, wow, I didn't know a home theater could sound this good. I didn't know a home theater could look this good. It's just absolutely awesome and incredible. So if you have the chance to do it, do it. Okay, so made a lot of contacts, had a lot of fun, met some really cool people. But now let's talk about the demo rooms. So I'm not going to talk about all the demo rooms because there's way too many. I didn't even get to see all of them. Trinov I didn't get to see, and I wanted to listen to Per Listen, but they weren't there. I mean, they were there, but they didn't have a demo room, which I was totally bummed out about. I got to meet them, but they didn't have any demo rooms with Per Listen. I was super bummed about it because I was like, that was probably number 1 or number 2 of the exhibitors that I wanted to experience with, their speakers. But I'm only going to talk about my top 3. So I guess my number 3, my favorite one, was probably I keep wanting to say Stewart Screens, but it's not Stewart Screens. I know it's going to come to me, but they had basically a Seymour Screens. That's what it was. So Chris Seymour had his own booth, Seymour Screens, and I think he was using Trinov, Kaleidoscape. Of course, he was using his screens. And then I don't remember what he was using for amps. But that room sounded absolutely amazing, and it looked incredible. Like the demos that they showed me, I was just like, wow. Oh, and I think they were using a JVC projector. Man, that room sounded really, really good. The speakers they were using in there, I think they were using a Skindo. Yeah, because I have a video on my channel, a very brief video of a demo. So they were using a Skindo. No, I don't think they were using Trinov. They may have been using Storm Audio. I think it was Storm Audio. But that one sounded really, really amazing. Like, man, it's hard to describe unless you actually experience it. But that was probably my 3rd favorite. The 2nd favorite was probably the Hisense one, the one that Chris actually set up. He talks about that on his channel. That one sounded really, really good. I forget the speakers that they were using in there. Of course, they were using a Trinov. They were using Kaleidoscape. And Kaleidoscape is really cool. Like, I know it's a niche product, and most people will scoff at it because of the price. I know I kind of did before, but I get it now after seeing it. Like, it's a really intuitive piece of device that brings a lot of convenience. Really, really good quality, really cool features. So yes, it is niche, and it is kind of targeted at a certain group, and it is expensive. There's no denying it, but it's really cool. Like, if I had the money to, then yeah, I would definitely get one, but that's probably not going to be viable for most people, for the average consumer. Again, these demo rooms at CEDIA some of them are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, the Christie projector is $450,000 just by itself. That's like more than 3 times the amount of my house, just that projector. So that tells you what kind of demographic those shows are aimed at. So that was my number 2. My number 1 favorite demo room was Marantz. That thing just sounded absolutely amazing. And the crazy thing about it was they had 0 acoustic treatment in there. It was just basically a huge hotel room, probably twice the size of my room, my theater room. But they were using Bowers & Wilkins, CT custom theater. I think there were 7s or 700s. I think Shane Lee had them in his theater at one time. But they were using those all around, and they had some on the ceiling as well for Atmos. And then they had the new AT10 and the new AV10. So they were using the processor and the amp. And that's basically it. Oh, they had 4 subwoofers in the corners. They had directional bass. And I have a video that talks about that. So go check that out because it's really interesting to hear how that works. And then they were just using I guess Kaleidoscape, and that was pretty much it. Like this says in the video, they don't have a rack Like all the other demo rooms, they have like a huge rack of all the stuff. They only had the amp 10, the AV10, the speakers, the subwoofers, and the screen, and that was it. And like even Chris said it in his video, and Chris, that home theater dude, he said that that was top 3 for him. And I believe that whole room, the rep said it cost $60,000. So we're talking $60,000 versus hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in those other rooms. And to me, that one sounded the best. It just, man, I don't know if it's because of the size of the room, of how big it was, because the room was way bigger than some of the other demo rooms. But I wasn't expecting to be blown away like that. Like I was coming back from lunch. I didn't have my camera. I left my camera in one of the booths, and I just had my phone. And I actually walked past that room. It was a Sound United room. And I was like, you know what? I went back and I was like, hey man, are you guys doing a demo? And he's like, yeah, come on in. So I sat down and wow, like I've never heard Marantz before or Bowers & Wilkins, but I am a fan. Like I almost want to get those speakers, even though I won't, and I won't be able to afford it. But man, you talk about just, I'm sold on Bowers & Wilkins and those the new amp 10 AV10. Just absolutely, absolutely incredible. So that's pretty much it. This is going to be probably a short video. I've got some other stuff to do, and I think my camera is probably going to stop recording at some point here in a few minutes. But yeah, like just an amazing, amazing experience that, again, I wouldn't have been able to do if it wasn't for you guys. Now, just to tell you, just to give you some quick stats, before I went to CEDIA, YouTube Studio, if you have a channel, then you probably already know about this, but the YouTube Studio app tells you, basically gives you a breakdown of all of your information. So before I went to CEDIA, I was averaging like 26,000 views a month on my videos. After I went to CEDIA, in like 3 or 4 days, it jumped up to 50,000, over 50,000. Right now it's over 60,000. And I say that because in order to get into CES as press, basically where you don't have to pay and you're considered press. Like when you walk up to people will want you to shoot videos for them because they know they're going to get the views and they know they're going to get the exposure. But there's requirements. So there's requirements for YouTube, there's requirements for Instagram, there's requirements for Twitter. Some of them you have to have like 100, podcast videos. There's certain requirements based on the platform that you're using. And for YouTube, if you want to go to CES as press, as a YouTuber, you're required to have 50,000 views a month. So before I went to CEDIA, I had 26,000 views a month. After CEDIA, like literally after a couple days, it jumped up to like 40,000, and I was like, wow, I think I'm gonna get to go. So I waited to register because I was like, I think it's gonna keep going up. And sure enough, within like 3 or 4 days, it jumped up to 50,000. And then I went and applied for CES as press, and I got approved. So again, that's all because of you guys. Like I'm literally only going to CES as press, probably at all, because you guys are watching. That means a lot to me, man. That's really, really cool. So the channel's growing. The channel's continuing to grow. I think I got like 400 subscribers in like 2 weeks after CEDIA. For those of you that are visiting the channel for the first time, my name is Jordan, aka Hatoraid Cowboy, and I wanted to take a quick moment to say welcome to the channel and thank you for watching. But the channel still needs your help. If you enjoyed the content that I produce here, why don't you do me a solid and subscribe to the channel? And if you're enjoying this video, why don't you hit the like button and share it with your friends? And don't forget to leave a comment and share your thoughts with the community. All right, well, I guess that's it. Let's get back to the video. All right, so as I predicted, my camera stopped filming, so I had to restart filming. So if there's like a very abrupt cut, I'm sorry, but as I was saying, I'm only able to go to CES as press, literally because of you guys that are watching this right now. It's been amazing that you guys blew my channel up so much. And again, like, my channel's still extremely small. I'm under 2,000 subscribers right now. I think I'm right at 1,750. But I gained like 400 subscribers like within like a week or two after CEDIA, and that's never happened before. That was like huge growth for me. So I am extremely thankful and that you guys are supporting the channel. I'm always trying to continue to improve on my videos. Sometimes my lighting is not perfect. I've got new lighting that I've gotten, and I'm still learning my cameras. So if you see my videos, sometimes they don't look right with the white balance. I'm sorry. Bear with me. I'm trying to improve on that as well. But again, man, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. And I'm super excited about CES. I didn't know if I was going to be able to go. I didn't know if I was going to be able to afford it. But because of CEDIA and you guys watching and new viewers, thank you, because I wouldn't be able to go, and I wouldn't be able to go as press. And what that means is basically, and like I said this a few minutes ago, you have a badge, and it's gonna say your name, it's gonna say your YouTube name or your Instagram handle, whatever, and then it's gonna say press on the bottom. And what that does is exhibitors and companies, they automatically know, oh, they meet the requirements. They're going to probably get at least 50,000 views a month. They're not going to say no if you ask them. More than likely, they're not going to say no if you ask them to film some content, because they know there's requirements to get that press badge, and they want the exposure. So companies, it's not like it used to be, 15 years ago where YouTube was booming. Like, companies know now that people follow YouTubers, content creators. They put products in their hands, they review them, and if you've built that trust with your audience, then those companies know that that works now. And so they want the exposure, they want their products and their interviews on YouTube, and it's a really fun time. So I can't say thank you enough. I know it's probably annoying, I keep saying that, but I cannot thank you guys enough for making that happen. So that's pretty much it that I have for this podcast. Like I said, it's going to be short. I have so much stuff to do. But again, I'm going to be posting some footage on my Patreon page that didn't make it to YouTube for specific reasons. So if you want to see those, the only way that you're going to be able to see them is on Patreon. And if the issues weren't there, I would have posted them on YouTube, but there's just reasons why I don't want to post them on YouTube out of respect for, those companies. But yeah, go check that out. Like I said, $5 a month, flat fee. There's no tiers. There's no, 5, 10, 15, 20. It's just $5 a month. If you choose to support that, that would greatly help me to make more content, and that'll help me to reach out to more companies and get more products. So I've got the Emotiva Airmotiv XS8 behind me, the XS12, and then I've got the SVS PB4000 that I'm going to be making some videos in the future. So bear with me. I know some couple of people already asked me about it, but reviewing speakers and subwoofers takes some time, because you want to make sure that you provide a good review and a good product. So it may be a few more weeks before you start seeing those videos pump out, and it may get a little bit slower on my videos. I was trying to post a couple videos a week, but there's so much stuff that I have going on. I've got other products coming in that's not on YouTube from Amazon, that people that are reaching out and ask me to review stuff. Some of them are paid, some of them are not. Some of them I have to get the product. Some of them I get to keep, and then some of them I have to send back after I make a review. So it's getting really busy. So, if you don't see me posting as much over the next couple weeks, couple months, then you know why. I've got some family coming in December, and then January is going to be CES, so I'm going to have to be getting ready for that as well. But That's going to conclude it for episode 7 of Hatoraid Hour. Again, I'm your host, Hatoraid Cowboy. If you're just visiting the channel for the first time, thank you for watching this. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss when I post new videos. And tell your friends about the channel. All right, guys, that's going to conclude it. Thank you again for watching. No matter where you're at on your home theater journey, make sure you enjoy it. For Hatoraid Cowboy Cinema, I'm Hatoraid Cowboy, and I'll see you guys in the next video.